you started with the technology and telecom initiative, but then you went onto multiple initiatives. Uh, First question is that while you were bringing these big changes, you didn't take any compensation, you didn't take any titles, you didn't take any roles. Who does that? How did you not want to have a title and not have compensation and not, I mean, think about somebody leaving their, whole life here in US and moving to India and you didn't ask for anything?
See, salary in India didn't mean much to me because I'd made a little bit of money here. So salary in rupees, if you convert that into dollars, it won't mean much.
Right.
So it might as well not take it because then nobody will point finger at you.
Right.
Two, if you take a big title, people will say it is your project. I didn't want it to be Sam Pitroda project. I wanted it to be Indian project. I was doing it for India. So designation didn't mean anything because I knew that the leadership will come from moral leadership and not from designation. I had studied Gandhi at length. I lived in an environment in boarding school where Gandhian thought was the key. It was a small little village in Gujarat where Sardar Patel was born, Karamsad. Next to it was Vallabh Vidyanagar, where we had a boarding school where I went to school at the age of 9 in the 5th grade. So Gandhian thought was embedded in our gene, I would say. Truth and absolute truth, trust, simplicity, unconditional love for everybody, concern for minorities, service. Selfless service was part of that package. And I saw that this is my chance to do something interesting and it needs to be done. Yeah. And I can do it. If I had been trapped in my designation and salary and title and expenses and all, I don't think I would be able to do it. It would have failed. Okay. Somebody had to give. And I realized that the only way I can make this happen is to give everything I have and not be open to any criticism, question. I believe very strongly in single standard of conduct. In a sense, what you do and what you say have to really merge. And I couldn't say that this is an exciting project to build a nation and then say, okay, what is my salary? What is my designation? It just doesn't work. Okay. So that's how it happened.
How many people like you are there in India or in US or internationally who actually give unconditionally? Or is it a hard concept for people to follow through?
I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not knowledgeable, but I don't know of anyone who has done it to the extent. I mean, people say 1 year, 2 years in the government, 5 years, but not for 30 years. I mean, devoted your whole life.
Yes.
Okay, to do different things. So going back to your earlier comment, as soon as telecom was on its way, Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi gave me an opportunity to work on technology missions. These missions were designed to use technology as an entry point to bring about generational change. So we use technology to go in and redefine the objectives, organizational architecture, communication, and performance.
Mm-hmm.
So we had then defined 6 technology missions. First one was rural drinking water, where we provide drinking water to 100,000 villages. Okay. Now this looks like a very simple idea, And people say, so what about technology? Well, geohydrological surveys, satellite imagery,
Right.
water testing lab, excess iron removal, excess fluoride. So there are all kinds of guinea worm to be eradicated.
Yeah.
There are all kinds of issues in water which require technology intervention. Literacy. Simple thing in literacy was, and people say, what technology in literacy? Well, there are places in India where there is no electricity. So we had to design solar power lamp in those days for kids to study at night. We realized that the blackboard requires you to cut a lot of wood. So we went to IPCL and said, can we design a plastic blackboard? So there are a lot of interesting things on literacy. Then immunization, which was a big technology issue in terms of vaccines, polio vaccine, cocktail vaccine, and delivery, distribution, storage, cold chain. Massive problem in a country of that size and shape. The areas you can't even reach in Northeast. And you're talking about cold chain. How do you create a cold chain where vaccine from factory goes into the train and bus and ultimately the nurse?
Right.
And the whole cold chain had to be implemented technology. Okay. Then oil seeds. We were importing then $1 billion worth of edible oil, palm oil and all, mainly from Malaysia. And we decided that we should shift from other crop into soybean, mustard oil, and we had to convince our farmers that it is better to grow oil than to grow some other stuff. So we had to train them, bring right seeds, and there was a lot of technology in there. Then milk production. We were producing fair amount of milk because of Dr. Kurian, who had come with a PhD from Michigan University and dedicated his life to it. But we had to take the next step. So idea was to really again bring in more technology in milk production and use NDDB to really store oil, because in India you have an oil mafia. They control oil prices. So we as government would buy oil at certain price. Okay. And then we had to store that oil someplace, all over the country. Yeah. So we use NDDB to store that oil. Every morning we'll meet and decide the price of the oil, 3 of us, okay, with Cabinet Secretary and myself and Kurian and a couple of other people who would advise us. And then finally telecom. So these were the 6 technology missions. And the idea was to be open, transparent, use technology, go out to public, work with every chief minister in every state. So we were traveling like mad, because the whole country had to be mobilized.
Right.
And then we wanted to introduce 3 other missions which we couldn't do. Because by then people felt that, we were becoming too powerful. So one was on environment. And we spent almost years studying that. And the debate there was, one group of people felt that you need to leave it as it is and let nature take care of it. Our idea was also plant some more trees and certain type of herbs and all that. And they were saying, no, that's not natural. So that debate stalled our environmental mission. Other mission was really about housing. We wanted to really build large number of homes for poor people. And there, the housing lobby stopped us, because in those days, privatization was not very common.
Mm-hmm. This is about 20, 30 years back?
Oh my God, it's 1985. Okay. So, or 87. So 30 years back. Then privatization, liberalization, deregulation was sort of something people didn't want to touch. They were afraid, So we couldn't implement housing mission. And the third one was Rajiv Gandhi went to Bihar once and there was drought. And he said, hey, wait a minute, last year I came here, it was flood. How come?
Yeah.
So he called me and he said, Sam, let's have a mission on drought and, flood. How do we do flood management and water harvesting and storing and all that, So we had some crazy ideas. One idea I had which was totally wild and couldn't even discuss with anybody. I said, look, I would like to bomb some rivers and create big holes on the side. Okay, so you can
Store.
Okay. But that would be, a shock to the world.
Yeah.
They didn't know the environmental impact and geohydrological problems
Right.
and earthquake, all that. So we said, okay, let's just drill. So we drilled across Ganga, 100 or some odd wells deep. So whenever there is a overflow,
It goes in the well.
it goes into the well until water tables will come up. Okay, but it was expensive, and every river had to do that ultimately, and we couldn't do it. Okay, but we had thought about all kinds of things like this, and it was all about technology. It was all about change. It was all about better methods of doing it. I can give you so many examples. Like in UP, for immunization, when you take your child, first thing the officer would ask this lady, what's your husband's name? And she won't say it
Why?
because she's not supposed to say her husband's name. Okay?
Really?
Yeah, you can't speak your husband's name.
Oh my God.
Okay, so now how do you document? So she would say her name, so they said, no, mother's name is not allowed to document. It's only father's name. So we had to convince everybody that, look, take anybody's name and document at least. So the kid would be there, and when the kid comes, your SAS also comes with her.
Right.
Okay, and SAS will be so strict, ye mat karo, wo mat karo. There's a whole big family affair. Okay, people don't understand
There's
all
a lot
this.
of cultural boundaries.
Huge problems. Okay, sometimes the young mother wants to take the kid for immunization, and grandmother or SAS would fight like hell, saying, you are not going to take this boy to doctor until he's sick. And she said, no, he's not sick, but he has to take immunization. I said, no, he'll get sick if he gets an injection.
Wow.
Okay, so you have to really...
A lot of challenges.
And how do you document? And I found out that there were 310 different forms on immunization in the country. Everywhere you go, somebody has a different form to document, somebody has a vertical form, somebody horizontal form, somebody doing this. It's all manual. So I hired a guy called Dr. Kumar, PhD in computer science. Young guy. I said, Kumar, I have a job for you. He said, Boliye, sir. I said, Dekho bhai, there are 310 forms for immunization. I want 10.
Yeah.
Now everybody said, how can you do this in 10? Where did you get 10? I said, I want 10. So there's a big debate. Everyone said, this guy is mad. How can you do 310? So I said, Kumar, you just go and do it. So after 3 months, Kumar says, Bichara niche, he comes and he head down. He says, sir, we have a problem. I said, what's the problem? He says, sir, I spent 3 months. I've tried so hard. I can only do it by 15 or 16 or something. I said, you're my hero.
Great, yeah.
Okay, he was upset that he couldn't do 10. My idea was...
to get as little as you can.
Exactly. So, these kinds of things happen.
Yeah.
You have to challenge people.
Exactly.
And they deliver. They're good people. They all mean well. I had a great team. Wonderful people. Hardworking, sincere. You have to motivate them.
I had such a great time talking to Sam. Every time I talk to Sam, I feel like I could probably go on for hours and hours. Thank you so much for talking to me.
I hope this was useful.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.